Hey guys, welcome back to Maverick Watch Reviews on this beautiful Sunday morning. Now I've got something incredibly cool for you today. A lot of you have been looking forward to this watch being reviewed, and guys, I'm here for you, man. This is what I do. All right, today we've got the Seiko 5 Custom Watch Beatmaker 2021 Limited Edition, and this is model number SRPH19. Now over in Japan, it's SBSA137, and I'm assuming, I might be wrong, but the limited run of 2021 units is for both countries, for the JDM market and for the rest of the world. I wouldn't think they would just have 2021 for the rest of the world and then also another 2021 for Japan. I think 2021 is it for the entire world, including Japan. Anyway, I actually got my hands on one, so let's check this thing out. All right, guys, we'll get into this as usual, but first make sure you check out my Amazon shopping channel. If you like any of the other watches I've reviewed on my channel, I do get a very small commission if you buy from my Amazon store, so I definitely appreciate it. Also, make sure you check out my watches for sale playlist for any of the latest watches that I'm selling on my channel. You can save yourself an absolute ton of money, and the 30% off back to school sale started yesterday, so you can save yourself a ton of money. That's 30% off any of the watches I have on that playlist, any of the listed prices, plus you get free shipping to CONUS, which is the continental United States. Guys, you can save yourself a ton of money with this sale, so make sure you check that out. All right, this is the regular Seiko 5 packaging. Nothing interesting here. You would have thought with this, watch being like a custom, contest type of watch, they would have maybe done a little something different with the packaging, but they didn't. All right, looks like a piece of sheet metal. The Seiko 5 boxes do now. Kind of cool. Let's open up the box. Get a luxurious piece of foam. Wow. Ooh, there you go. Here is the watch. Now this is basically kind of like a Pogue from the 70s. I'm thinking that's what people wanted this to, eventually look like. Obviously not exactly like a Pogue. This has got a champagne color dial. The Pogue's got more of a yellow. The Pogue was, of course, a chronograph. So I don't think this was meant to be, or even the people that voted on the design of this watch meant this to look just like a Pogue. But it does. You got the Pepsi bezel, you got the champagne color dial. So it does a little bit, but I'll talk all about that a little bit later. All right, so there's the watch. And you only get a warranty card. You don't get a manual with these things. I'm not quite sure why we didn't get a manual, but I've checked other online sellers on eBay. I'm not actually selling this one, but I've seen some on for sale, and none of those come with a manual either. So I guess they just didn't ship with a manual. They just shipped with the Seiko warranty card. So there you go. All right, let's put that back. Let's take the watch out of the watch box. Got this nice little pillow right there. Let me show you the tag real quick. There is the Seiko 5 tag. There you go. Let's flip it over. As you can see, SRPH19. And again, this is SBSA137 in Japan. All right, get that out of the way. And I'd never even, I'd heard of a Pogue, but I never actually seen a Pogue until I did the research for this video. And it's a cool looking watch. It's a very 70s, kind of color scheme with that kind of muted yellow dial. Not my favorite, but it's an interesting looking watch. And obviously it's very historical too, and I'll tell you all about that later. So let's go ahead and tell you all the 7 specs you need to know. I'll put the rest of this stuff down there in the description field for you. You're looking at a 42.5 millimeter stainless steel case. It's 13.4 millimeters thick. It's 46 millimeters lug to lug. It's on a 20 millimeter stainless steel strap. It's water resistant to 100 meters, which is 330 feet. Of course, you get the 4R36 movement with about a 41-hour power reserve, and you get a Hardlex crystal. And again, check out the description field. Y'all seen these Seiko 5 reviews a million times for other different models. You get a non-screw-down crown at 4 o'clock. The Caseback is see-through. You get LumiBrite, Hardlex, all that good stuff. And this is actually 167 grams. But again, check the description field for everything. So basically, this watch is the winning design from the Custom Watch Beatmaker contest. Millions of people voted on it. There were like 48,000 design submissions, and millions of people voted. I think it ended up being like 8 million people voted for this particular colorway and design. And again, I had heard of the Pogue, but really didn't know anything about it. Turns out it was the first automatic chronograph in space, and it's named after Colonel William Pogue, who wore his 6139-6002, let me show you that, to Skylab for an 84-day mission between 1973 and 1974. I was like 2 or 3 years old at that point. Man, I just dated myself. Anyway, with that picture, let me put it back up here real quick. You can actually see that it was made at the Suwa factory. There were 2 different competing factories back then. You had the Suwa and the Diani factory, and Seiko thought it'd be a good job to have some friendly competition to see which factory could make the best watches, yada, yada, yada. And that Suwa logo is right above the 6 o'clock subdial. Let me show you one more time here. Right above the 6 o'clock subdial. Just a little interesting piece of Seiko history. And I'll make sure to place a great article about the Pogue in the description field. This gives you the whole history of the watch, why Colonel Pogue wore it. I guess because he couldn't get a Speedmaster, Omega Speedmaster, because they didn't issue the Speedmasters until right before launch time. And I guess for whatever reason, he didn't have time to get one. So he actually bought a Pogue, you know, the watch named after him, the 6139-6002. And that's how that ended up being the first automatic watch in space instead of the Speedmaster, the Omega Speedmaster. Interesting piece of, like, you know, NASA history. Pretty cool. Now, the original Pogue sold for around $6,000 back in 2008. So we're talking, what, 13 years ago? I would love to know what that watch is worth today. I'm guessing today, just out of a guess, I'm guessing probably $25,000. I mean, we're talking about the very first automatic watch worn in space. So I'm thinking probably about 25. That's just my guess. Mine happens to be, I think it's 1848 of 2021, and that's etched on the case back. And again, I really don't care that it's not just like the original Pogue. I prefer this champagne color dial as opposed to the darker yellow. It just reminds me of a real famous Casio dive watch that I wore when I was a kid, and that's the AMW-320R. And let me show you that real quick. I just love that dial, that kind of starburst champagne color dial, as opposed to the darker yellow of the Pogue. You know, back then in the early 70s, the design aesthetic was, you know, yellows and browns and olive greens and cream colors. I just hated the 70s from a design standpoint for just about everything. That's just me personally. You know, the electronics look goofy, the TVs look goofy, the furniture was always crazy brown and dark, you know, greens and yellow. So I guess that's probably why I'm not a big fan of the original Pogue's dial color. Now, the Pogue does come in multiple different dial colors. You get like a black and a blue and a white, but the original is the one I showed you before, and that's with the yellow dial. That's the original. So if you want to get one of those, you can get them anywhere from, you know, $300 on up to about $1,000. You know, you got to remember, these watches are about 50 years old, and I can't remember when they stopped making them. I'd have to look that up. But I know they were made for a few years. But they were cool watches, just not my personal design aesthetic, not my favorite. Really, it's just because that I don't like that super kind of muted mustard colored dial. That's just me personally. So let's talk about this one. All right, that's enough about the original Pogue. I like it. You got a Pepsi bezel. Again, you've got that sunburst dial. Even the applied Seiko logo has that champagne color to it. I just think it looks really nice. You know, normally those applied logos would be silver or, like, you know, chrome looking, but I like the fact that they made it look just like the dial. Of course, you got, you know, you got a nice little border around your indexes. You got the Seiko 5 logo underneath the Seiko logo. You got automatic right there. And of course, these are actually made in Japan, which is really interesting. Nice bezel, chrome bezel around the hour and minute hands. You have a cool little lollipop on the back of the second hand. Pretty nice, man. Nice chapter ring. It's kind of a deep dial. And again, this is just the new Seiko 5 in this, you know, Beatmaker contest colorway. Let's go ahead and look at the, you got a kind of a tall coin edge, not really like a coin edge, like a tight coin edge, kind of like a rounded coin edge for the bezel. 120 click. And I'm looking at this, and this thing is lining up perfectly. Y'all tell me, I mean, wow. I mean, it lines up perfectly. There was another reviewer saying that his didn't line up and the chapter ring wasn't printed correctly and yada, yada. And he was bashing on Seiko. And, you know, I can understand some of that, but Seiko, I think, has, you know, come a long way in kind of, you know, addressing the alignment issues with their bezels and stuff. In any case, at least mine is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. Click action, I do wish these bezels had more of a definitive click to them. They're kind of smooth, which is not a big deal, but I wish it had more of a definitive and harder click action. Not much backplay, which is nice. Let me go ahead and line this thing up. Let me show you. Boom. I mean, it's spot on, man. Look at that. Everything is lining up. There's your bezel. Here's your case. Of course, you got your polishing on the side. You've got drilled lugs there. There you go. Solid links for the case. Let's go over to the crown. Non-signed crown right there with some crown guards built in. It'd be kind of cool if they maybe, you know, put the Seiko 5 logo right there. I think it'd be a nice little touch. I mean, guys, it's a Seiko 5. You've seen these watches a million times. Let me go ahead and open it up. Your typical stamped metal clasp and deployment right there. You know, it'd be nice if they could eventually, you know, upgrade these bracelets just a little bit. But let me look down here and see if I can see where my numbering is. All right, there's the limited edition right there. There we go. And I think on the other side is where the, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I can't read that. I think it's 1848 of 2021. I think that's what that says. Anyway, so there you go. And it says limited edition on the other side. So there you go, man. Again, only 2021 of these have been made. And I'm seeing them go on eBay for, gosh, $1,000. There is no way in God's green earth I would pay $1,000 for a Seiko 5 just for a particular colorway. But I'm sure people will be selling these like crazy because they're out, you know, they're out and about now. They're in the public view and people like these watches. I like it. I mean, I'm never going to sell mine. I'm probably going to keep it. Maybe pass it on to Maverick one day if he even likes it. I haven't even shown him the watch. I don't know if he even likes it or not. But it's a pretty cool watch. I really love the dial. I really love the dial. And again, I don't care about the original Pogue. I just like this dial because it reminds me of that Casio dive watch I wore when I was a kid back in the 80s. So pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and try this thing on. You know what's going to happen here. It's going to fit great because it's a Seiko, and Seikos always fit me right out of the box. They always do. Man, that feels good. Good looking watch, man. Really good looking watch. There you go. Actually, it's a little tiny bit loose. I could probably tighten it up just a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and get you a Lume shot of that LumiBrite. And I really want to know y'all's thoughts on this watch. You know, would you buy one for $500 or $600? Not that I'm selling mine. I'm just saying if you really wanted one, how much would you be willing to pay for one of these things? Here's a LumiBrite. There you go. God, Seiko really does just have the best lume in the business, man. Fantastic. And I think that dial actually reflects some of that light too. So it's not like a matte finish. It's got like a sunburst on it and it's metallic. It helps reflect some of that lume a little bit too. Pretty cool. All right, again, guys, I really want to know what your thoughts are on this watch. Would you be willing to pay that much money for one? Do you like this? You know, even though it was kind of meant to kind of look like the original Pogue, I bet you Seiko brings back the original Pogue at some point after the success of this, the Beatmaker limited edition, you know, the contest. I bet you anything that Seiko brings back the original Pogue in some sort of, you know, variation. I mean, Seiko is the absolute king of reeditions, reimaginations. They just love to bring back old models and kind of tweak them a little bit and put out tons of different special and limited editions of older models they've had that are 30, 40 years old. So if they don't put out a new Pogue, I would be absolutely shocked. So guys, I'm trying to think of anything else I want to tell you about this watch. I really want to know your thoughts. I really, really do. So anyway, as always, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you click that notification bell if you like my content, and I hope you do. And thanks so much for watching, man. I really appreciate you taking out your time on this Sunday morning or afternoon or whatever you're watching this thing. And till the next review, I'll see y'all later. Take care. Bye.